EAGLES, Eagles!
You almost made me throw up my Pop-Tart. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Geeks Who Like Sports podcast. As always, I am Ray Carsillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. I'm my best friend in the entire world over in
Raining. Is it beautiful when it rains? Is it beautiful out there when it rains?
It will be. All the flowers will bloom. Yesterday was a nightmare because of all the accidents on the road, because nobody knows how to drive out here in the rain. And they call it severe weather when we get rain.
They don't know.
But hey, it's beautiful California. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. I mean, the Super Bowl's a few days away. My Eagles are in the Super Bowl. I'm very excited about the Super Bowl. Like our chances in the Super Bowl. Next week might be a different story, but I'm doing pretty good, man. Like I said, we had a nice rich show today of sports and geekdom. Yes. After taking a little bit of a break there because I was traveling, but this is the Super Bowl special.
Yes, it is indeed a Super Bowl special. This is going to be a great show, folks. Like Lisa, we got tons of football. We got all four major sports we're covering today. We got wrestling. We got a ton of geek stuff. It is a massive show. And both Lee and I are munching on some fun stuff. Yeah. Lee, you said before the show, you are high on a neuro what? What?
Neurogum.
Neurogum?
Yeah.
What does that is? So does that make all the neurons and synapses fire better by chewing gum? Is that what that
whatever you need to make it work better? Sure. No, it's like a no sugar, caffeine, and some vitamin B stuff in the gum. It just makes you focus. It wakes you up. It's great, and it doesn't have the what's it called, the slide down that coffee gives you, right? You just kind of walk out of it nice and peaceful instead of just nice. There's no like 2:00 you're like that doesn't happen.
I definitely have that every day now.
I love it. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been worth it, and I time it. I don't usually do it for my morning. I do it at kind of that 2:00 time period when I need the extra few hours of focus. So yeah, it's good. Neurogum from Blammo.
Yes. But yeah, I have my good old coffee. I also have today. I'm munching on a Pop-Tart. Almost as if it was one of the college football bowl games. I'm munching on Pop-Tarts. Lee, I need to know, what is your favorite kind of Pop-Tart? As I take another bite of I guess I'm doing. We got non-sponsors: Neurogum, Dunkin' Coffee, and Pop-Tarts.
And also Open Nature water crackers, because Ray, when you're over 40, which you'll experience soon, your diet changes. So water crackers. I'm not happy about that. Listen, I'm going to split this up. I have a tie here for my Pop-Tarts. If it's the morning Pop-Tart, like, going out for work, got to eat the Pop-Tart. I like the strawberry with the frosting. If it's a dessert Pop-Tart, which to me is a very different Pop-Tart. This is a little bit later in the day. You need something late at night. Cinnamon sugar is the way I go.
Nice. I am munching currently, as you can all hear. Yeah. I hear there's people into that, actually, but you can all hear.
ASMR, man. It's a whole business.
ASMR, mukbang videos, all that other stuff. It sounds worse than it is a mukbang video. It's just watching people eat. So if you're into that, you're welcome.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a waste of time, but all right. I'd rather be eating.
I would just rather eat. Typically when I play video games, I would just rather be playing people. I appreciate the people who watch me play video games. Don't get me wrong, but I would just personally rather play video games.
It's a weird time to be alive.
It is a weird time to be alive, but I am enjoying my raspberry. I'm a raspberry guy.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever even had a raspberry one. I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. It's close to strawberry, but it's raspberry, right? Like, so it's still a berry.
There's a lot of different Pop-Tart flavors out there. I think strawberry frosting is the old faithful. If it's been there forever.
It's the OG.
It's the OG. The cinnamon sugar came a little bit later, but I mean, I think they're getting a little crazy now with some of the collaborations, and it's like, look, I'll just get the cake. I'm not going to get the Pop-Tart with the cake and the sprinkle. Like, just stop it. I did like when they put the faces on the Pop-Tarts. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes.
Whoever it was.
Now, of course, you've got cookies and cream, and you've got all these other things.
That's like Oreo. It's like, guys, get it together. When the foreign countries come over here and go, why do you have 47 Oreo types? It is kind of embarrassing. They also buy them all up because they don't have them back home. But it's like, I don't need a cake batter Oreo. I don't even need a birthday cake Oreo. I need my Oreo. I made the mistake, Ray.
Yes.
I got Coca-Cola Oreos because I'm not gonna lie to you, the intrigue got the best of me.
Sure.
And it's like it does taste like Coca-Cola and an Oreo, and I immediately was like, I don't need Coke and an Oreo. I didn't need this. It's like it's not enjoyable after the first one. You're like, okay, I'd rather just have an Oreo. Very few. Last thing I'll say, very few specialty flavors of anything. Few, small, have ever trumped the original.
No, not trumped for sure, but I'll enjoy a mint Oreo on occasion.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's still not better than an Oreo.
Correct.
Right? And that's what I'm trying to say. There's very few hybrids or collaborative food products, I think, that trump the original or make it better. You know, and there's a few. There's just very few. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there's a few that would make sense. I mean, there's separate cereals now, but like Fruity Pebbles, you know, versus the chocolate ones. Like those are different cereals, but I'm sure they started that way.
Yes. So, yes.
Good discussion, Ray, to start the show. Wow.
Yes,
Go Birds.
Sure. Yes, your precious birds.
My precious birds. My precious.
Yes, the matchup that nobody wanted, but we got anyway.
Everybody wanted this where I'm from.
No, nobody wanted. We'll get into this. Because it does bring up. So yes, for those who don't know, if you've been living under a rock for the last 2 weeks, it'll be the Eagles and the Chiefs in Super Bowl 59 down in New Orleans.
Again.
Yes, the Eagles knocked off Washington. Which Washington, again, common theme of the playoffs, turnovers lead to losing. Washington could not hold on to the ball. That gave the Eagles 3 extra possessions, and that was all they needed. And then, of course, the Chiefs and Bills. The Bills did everything right until it came to the final 3 minutes, and they choked it all away on really terrible play calling.
Yep.
And I'm sorry. I know Chiefs fans are like, we won. Like, there are instances where you can say the other team lost more than you won. And I feel like the Bills were primed to finally knock you off in the playoffs, and they panicked and they choked. And when you have James Cook, who's averaging almost 9 yards a carry in the game, not get a touch on the final drive, when the Chiefs, who have clearly figured out your QB sneak situation, and you don't change it up. You don't go for a play action. You don't go for an end around. You don't mix it up and try something different in the second half. The Bills deserve to lose because the Bills shot themselves in the foot repeatedly over and over again. And Lee, before I ask you for your analysis, I'm going to say it right now. Sean McDermott, the Bills coach, should be fired. He has become the modern Marty Schottenheimer, a terrific regular season coach who can't seem to figure things, get out of his own way, and thus his team get out of their own way in the playoffs. We'll start with your Eagles, Lee, obviously dominating Washington.
Well, wait a minute. You just talked about the Chiefs and the Bills. You skip it over the Chiefs and the Bills talk.
Well, I know, but I mean, I also mentioned the Eagles and Washington.
I'm just going to say, I just want to say this one thing about the Chiefs. Okay.
Yes,
we've been saying this all season.
Please talk about the Chiefs Bills first if you want.
All right. All of you fans, and we warned you, saying, oh, it's the worst 15-2 team of all time. Now you know how stupid that sounds. We've been saying it. You cannot underestimate a 2-time Super Bowl champion, even if they have the worst 15-2 record. First off, insulting a 15-2 record is stupid. All right? Yes. We said it. They know how to win. They knew exactly what they needed to do, and they did it. Bills played a close game. The Super Bowl championship team understood how to win that game, and they won that game. That is the difference. All right? It's also solidifying that Andy Reid is one of the greatest coaches in history. All right? Yeah. I mean, he already had that title, in my opinion, but solidifying it. All right? Don't underestimate coaching in the NFL. A smart coach can win a game like that. All right? And you said it right, Ray. Like the Bills tripped over themselves there. It's unfortunate for Bills fans. We said it. We wanted the Bills to win. I picked the Chiefs to win. And I said it. The experience is there. They know how to close out the AFC. And they did. Yeah. That's my only thoughts on it.
The Chiefs, even though 15-2, are probably, and we're still probably vulnerable. They were definitely vulnerable. Again, the Bills could have, would have, should have won that game. but they didn't. And again, a lot of that to me comes down to coaching, and
That's
why
the difference. That's the difference between a champion and a non-champion. That's the difference.
And that's why Sean McDermott should be fired, in my opinion, because he's not. To me, he's not a championship caliber coach. At least not yet.
Yep, maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
So, I mean,
now you can talk about my birds. The birds.
I was going to say, but it reminds me in a lot of ways of almost basically when the Eagles with Andy Reid around, where they lost 4 or 5 NFC championships.
Good thing we taught him how to win.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe McDermott goes somewhere else, and maybe he becomes the great coach that he's meant to be.
Right.
But I feel like his time in Buffalo is up. And as crazy as that may sound, but it might just be time for a change there, just to give that team that shot in the arm they need to get over the Mahomes hump. Now moving on to your birds. Saquon Barkley, of course, on the verge of setting the all-time record. He needs 30 yards to have the all-time rushing record for regular season and playoffs set by Terrell Davis 25 years ago in one of Denver's Super Bowls, one of their first 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, I mean, you guys spanked Washington. It helps that, again, the 3 turnovers. The only team to win the turnover battle and lose the game in the playoffs this year was the Bills in the AFC Championship. But you turned the ball over 3 times to the Eagles, none, and that's almost impossible.
You're going to lose that game. Yeah.
So
Washington's
going to be scary.
I was just going to say, let's give Washington credit. They had a great season. This is definitely a pat on the back season. Like, way to go, guys. Now you got to figure out a way forward from here. But as we said, their big wins were the weeks before. The Eagles, and we said this, Ray. We said this before the game. The Eagles are showing up to go to the Super Bowl. And if you're not ready to match that, you're not going to win. The Eagles looked hungry, obviously, from the first play. Saquon looks unstoppable. We will see what happens in the Super Bowl. I guess we'll analyze that in a minute. But the Eagles just understood how to get to the Super Bowl, and the Commanders' rookie type squad did not. All right, but they are going to be around for years to come. The Eagles look ready to play. The Eagles look like the most dominant team in the NFL at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, and I mean we're going to get into it, but
and then we
are both 8-4 now currently in the playoffs.
Really glad I picked the Chiefs last week.
Yes, as to pull even. I mean, Lee, I get it. It's hard. It's still hard to pick against the Chiefs, but I have to pick your Eagles.
I do too, and there's reasons for that. It's going to be a great game. I really believe that. The reason I'm picking the Eagles actually is coming down to one player. It's Saquon, and I don't think that Kansas City has the best rush defense. And what we've been able to do against teams with him right now, even if they target him, this guy's on a superhuman level of play.
Yeah.
If they can stop him, my attitude is it's not like a sure thing that they win, because we have other weapons. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
If Jalen Hurts decides to have the great
Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, right? Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we can win. So they're a very dangerous team. But I look at storylines, Ray. I look at not just talent. Like, talent for talent, these teams are pretty well, equal. All right.
Yeah.
We have some edges. They have some edges. Storylines, though, are fascinating. You got a team going for a three-peat, and they want it. I have no mistakes about that. They want that three-peat.
Oh, they said that that's what they're going for. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Eagles are coming for a bit of revenge. Saquon has an amazing story. You want to talk about finish the story. Saquon has an amazing story here, because it's also one of these things, man. If they don't win the Super Bowl, not that the season gets forgotten for him, but man, that's tough. That's a tough thing. Yeah. There's other storylines too. Like I said, Philadelphia. I think people forget we've had a lot of successful seasons with all of our sports recently, but we've got nothing but L's in the big games.
Yep.
And this is a team now that's been to the Super Bowl, understands how to win the Super Bowl, understands what losing the Super Bowl feels like.
Yeah.
So I'm picking the Eagles. Obviously, hometown team for me, but I would give them a little bit of the edge in this game. With that said, it's not by much. The Chiefs could absolutely win the Super Bowl. They are so time tested here. But this actually reminds me of the Flyers back in the 80s when they went against the Oilers 2 times in a row and lost twice, not in a row, sorry, 2 times over several years, and they lost both of those times too. But man, if the Eagles show up, if they really show up, and Kansas City doesn't have an answer for them defensively, I think the Eagles win this game. Eagles defense also not to be underestimated. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're going against Mahomes, so we'll see. This could be a very high scoring game.
Yes. Well, I mean, I was about to say, I mean, like the thing that impresses me more is than the time you faced them a couple years ago is more so your defense is better now than it was 2 years ago. I think you can get pressure with your front four more so than you could a couple years ago. And of course, yes. And so I actually think it's going to be your defense that I think is actually going to surprise a lot of folks in this game. Because again, to your point, people are expecting Saquon to go off. They're expecting one of those home run.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if they match us.
Right. And that's the thing is that, but I think that your defense is much better primed to contain Mahomes and the Chiefs this go around. And I think that's going to be the difference in this game, and is why I'm actually picking the Eagles in more of a barn burner, kind of like a 20-20.
I'd be proud to have the same record. And you know what, Ray? Let's shake on it. Digital shake. Out of the way, buddy. Out of the way. There we go.
There we go.
There it is. Digital shake. We're going to finish with the same record. I'll take it.
Yeah, no matter what. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, and then that's the thing. And I think that also, I mean, you mentioned if they do take away Saquon, it wouldn't be the first time that the game plan has been to try to turn an offense in the Super Bowl one-dimensional. But this is where you see guys either step up or step out.
Look, he's going to get him at least once.
Probably, yeah.
And here's the thing too: is that who's defending this guy? Like the best have tried, and they're not doing it. So it's possible. Like it's possible, but like for what I'm seeing, this has nothing to do with me being an Eagles fan. Nobody can seem to defend Saquon right now.
No.
So
and it's not even Saquon; it's your offensive line.
Right, they're paving the way for him. It's right. And then there's also the added power of the brotherly shove, which is a massive weapon for us, as everybody nationally figured out last week.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, and it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, and I will say this though, Ray. Just similar to the 2017 or 18 Super Bowl, depending on how you want to look at this. It's 2017 season Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The mistake the Eagles can make that will make them lose this game, which they did not do in that Super Bowl, is you have got to continue to go for the throat the entire game. You've got to be edgy. You've got to go for it on fourth. You have got to score. You have got to have the guts to win the game, because if you let Kansas City hang around, you bet your ass they're going to have the ball in the last possession with a chance to win.
100%.
Right? It's 100% chance. So
yes.
That's one of those things. And again, the Eagles have been playing edgy all year. We go for it on fourth down all the time, but it's like, it's not time to be conservative if you're Sirianni. And I have no fear of him doing that, but you can see the teams that are making it through the playoffs in the NFL, the last 5 or 6 years, you've got to try stuff that's crazy. You got to try stuff that's crazy. Now, unfortunately, when you try crazy stuff, a lot of those teams lose. And we end up playing them.
Sometimes it backfires.
Right. But the teams that do it and execute, that's how you win a Super Bowl. It's not the regular season. You got to go for it.
Yeah, you have to go for it, and it's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure the Eagles will. And I mean, again, it's just it's going to be a fascinating game.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. As much as everybody says they don't want these two teams in it, if you're a football fan, this is going to be a good game. I don't care.
It's going to be a good game. We still don't want these two teams in it.
Yeah, I can understand that, and you guys can all cry while we face each other. That's fine with me.
Well, I mean, it's and it's interesting. It's I want to bring something up because I feel like something that's changed, and I think part of it is kind of go meta here, like maybe with social media and things like that, and everybody having a chance to gripe and whatnot. When we were younger, greatness was celebrated. Now, to be fair, we've seen greatness on an unparalleled level in our lifetimes in the NFL, specifically Tom Brady. Now we're seeing that with Patrick Mahomes. But I feel like people don't care about greatness as much as they do the story now, where it used to be, I feel like the story and greatness could be equal when we were younger. And now it's definitely more that the story matters more than the idea of somebody being great, of a dynasty, of anything of that nature.
We have learned to I shouldn't say learn. I think that the onus has been towards watching people fall now more than watching them rise. And that's kind of sad. I think that, when you look at Mahomes, they're the evil empire suddenly. The Dodgers are the evil empire really quick nowadays. It's because we've been brought up now for the last probably 20 years on, well, greatness must fall. Greatness is not good. It's not that simple. but we've taken a turn, in my opinion, away from valuing success a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go too far into that because there's a dark side to that I'm not trying to explore. But I just think the world's a little more pessimistic than it was when we were growing up, and probably rightly so. All right, there's a lot of reasons for that, but sports to me was always the haven where that didn't have to exist. And I still feel the way I did when we were younger, Ray. Like I look at Patrick Mahomes, and don't get me wrong, I want the Eagles to win, but we're watching greatness. I'm happy for the guy. I'm not against the guy. I don't think he's the evil empire. I will say this too, that a thing that I think is working tremendously in the Eagles' favor right now is there's a lot of talk about the officiating suddenly. And that is working in our favor, in my opinion, because now it's very much out there that people think that the officials are making calls in favor of the Chiefs. Yeah. And now that hyper awareness is out there, I have a feeling that's not going to help them.
They're going to try and call as tight a game as possible.
Yeah. I'm not saying that they're going to put the whistles away, but I do think now they're going to think twice before, is that this? Is that? Yeah. We'll see, because if they don't, people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens on Sunday. Moving on, speaking of celebrating greatness, actually.
Well, wait. What was your prediction score for the Eagles?
23-20 Philly. I think it's actually going to be more defensive battle than people think.
23-20. That's interesting. I'm going to go a little higher. I think this is close. I think this game might have 30 points.
Ooh. That's fair. That could happen.
24-30 something.
Like 31-24 kind of thing, maybe?
Yeah. Can we talk about Nick Sirianni for a minute?
Oh, yeah. I mean, before we get on and talk about some other greatness and stuff, I mean, speaking of greatness, you made a great prediction back in week 4 when your Eagles were 2-2. Remember that? Back then?
I do remember this.
And Sirianni shaved his head, was getting in the media's face, all this other stuff, and you were the only one who said, this might all be part of the plan.
Mm-hmm. You know why, Ray? I said he might be putting the attention on himself to take it off his players. And I believe I said, quote, if the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, which he has to do now, he's going to look like a genius.
Yep.
He looks like a genius. No one's talking bad on Nick Sirianni anymore. Nope. All right. Listen, thank you for those quotes. This is what I'm saying. There's usually a hidden agenda with these coaches, and I think that he did do that. I think he put the team on his back. He kept the focus on him. It did calm everything down, and I believe they only lost one game after that to the Giants in a game that did not matter for us. So you got to give this guy credit where it's due. I mean, he did a phenomenal job this season.
Yeah. No, he did. He did. And I think Sirianni has earned his spot for at least a few more years, probably after this. Obviously, if he wins on Sunday, then he's set for a while.
He's going to have a statue.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have a statue, just like Doug Peterson, who, also, by the way, back on the coaching carousel after he got laid off in Jacksonville, but that was never his fault, in my opinion.
No, he's not given a team that could compete.
No, and then that's because Tony Khan is too busy worrying about wearing a neck brace during the NFL draft than he is about keeping any of his franchises alive, whether it's AEW
Peterson will land somewhere else, big time.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're not here to talk about the terrible ownership at the Jacksonville Jaguars. We want to celebrate greatness. We've been talking about greatness with Sirianni. We've been talking about greatness with the NFL teams. Obviously, the Super Bowl coming up. Want to move on now into baseball. The Hall of Fame class of 2025 was announced. I think that is something to celebrate. I think that CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner, and Ichiro will be the 3 men inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Ichiro 1 vote shy of being unanimous, and he was very funnily mentioned is like, I would like to take the man who did not vote for me out for lunch.
Yes,
wink, wink. Like,
we have talk.
We have to have a talk. But yeah, no, I mean, Ichiro obviously will go in as a Mariner. Over 3,000 hits in Major League Baseball, which is
greatest of all time, easily.
Yes, 100%. Over 4,000 hits between Japan and Major League Baseball. CC Sabathia, one of the best aces of his generation between Cleveland and the Yankees. Obviously went the Yankees in 2009. Over the Phillies. I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to you mention the Phillies, but you had to clear your throat. You got something caught in your throat there.
The flu.
Yeah. And then of course Billy Wagner, who in his last year of eligibility, he's been trending toward this. Billy was one of the more dominant closers of his era, But it's just, of course, a closer. It is usually harder for a closer to make the Hall of Fame, especially in modern times, unless you are a Mariano Rivera or a Trevor Hoffman or whatnot. But Billy was great for the time he played. So I think a very deserving class. CC's already said he's going to go as a Yankee. Ichiro will go in as a Mariner, of course. And the Mariners will also announce they're going to retire his number, I believe, in August, which makes perfect sense. And then I'm guessing Billy's going to go in, and I don't know if Wagner has said who he's going in as because he bounced around. But I always think of Billy Wagner as an Astro.
Yeah,
his best days with Houston. So I would imagine he'd wear that hat, but I might be wrong on that. We can double check that later. Lee, any quick thoughts on the Hall of Fame class of 2025?
No, it's good picks this year. I have my own gripes about how the MLB Hall of Fame is picked, but those are good picks. I can't argue with those picks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It always feels like somebody's going to get left out or left off, and until Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame, it never feels like it's truly complete.
I don't know how you have people that didn't play the game picking that. That bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you have all these baseball writers who think they know better, and they know nothing. Moving on to the season hasn't even started, Lee. We've already got some baseball controversy.
Yes, we do.
Pat Hoberg, excuse me.
You're fired.
Yes. To be fair, it has to be said, there is no evidence of him gambling on baseball, but for whatever reason, the story is that good old Pat, who, by the way, and this is the saddest thing, was the most accurate baseball umpire the last several years in calling balls and strikes. But he was found to have shared a gambling account with somebody, I guess, in his family or whatever, and the individual paid a lot of money on one of these accounts. And because Pat's name was on it as one of, I guess, the co-admins, baseball was like, we have to fire you because gambling is bad. Even though, by the way, this firing, of course, brought to you by DraftKings.
Yeah, it's hypocrisy at 101.
The fact that I'm torn with this, Lee, because again, to your point, the hypocrisy. It has been proven that he did not make any of the bets. He opened the account, but he never made any bets. So if there's no record of him making, I get that for the optics you have to fire him, I guess, but the hypocrisy and the fact that his record shows that he's actually probably your best umpire of the last several years.
Now's the time to bring in the robot umps. Right now.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
This is the time to be like, we can't, for the integrity of the game, we can't risk all of these gambling addicts being umpires now. Like in fact, actually every umpire now should be investigated. Yeah. I want every umpire.
You're all found guilty. Yeah. I mean, you wish it was Angel Rodriguez that this happened to, but the thing that's funny about it, Ray, is that would we have noticed if they didn't say anything? Maybe someone would have wrote an article, but I don't think anybody would have noticed. And that's the funny thing.
Him making the bets.
I know, and it's pretty easy to justify that. So interesting, but weird at the same time.
Very weird, and it just, I don't know, something's rotten in Denmark, but it I feel bad for him. They said after a year he can petition to be reinstated and ask for his job back, and maybe they'll let him back in, but we'll see what happens.
That might likely to happen.
Right. So yeah, it's an interesting conundrum, but I mean, also, who opens up an account and lets somebody else use it for gambling?
That's stupid. Look, if you're a professional, anything in sports, don't gamble. It's pretty simple. I know you guys are competitive, but just stop.
Yeah, and I get that it's easier than ever now with ESPN Bet and FanDuel and MGM and blah, 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 blah.
There, but yeah. Wishing
you
the best, buddy.
Bet 365 and blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God. Anyway, hopefully he lands on his feet. We'll see what happens. Moving over to hockey now.
Hockey, the game of ice. I know. I'm a mild fan.
Just a little bit. A little bit. We got a lot of fun stuff going. Actually, we got a lot of fun stuff going on in hockey. Next week kicks off, and we'll talk about this more next week. The Four Nations competition, which is replacing the All-Star break. Yes, the USA, Canada, Finland, and Sweden players from these four great nations will be represented in kind of a mini tournament. We really haven't talked about it much here in the show. Lee, what are your thoughts about the 4-nation tournament before we get into the other hockey news?
No, I look, I love it. I think the All-Star game is horrible. So anything that's better than the All-Star game, they've been doing a little bit of a different style All-Star game in the last few years. This is great because NHL athletes have not been able to really compete in the Olympics or the World Championships over the last 10 years, really. Mm-hmm. And I think we want to see the best in the world compete against each other. So I also think that the NHL, and actually we know this, is building towards something larger than the 4 Nations face-off. It is pretty clear that they want to bring back the World Cup of Hockey. They want to own it. They have already told the IIHF, which is the International Ice Hockey Federation, that NHL players are not going to compete anymore in some of these events. So they're trying to make their own brand of international hockey. Some people are like, well, let's screw it over the IIHF and the Olympics. I don't care. Like, I don't know why people care so much about that. Like, well, the Olympics, I'm like, they haven't competed in 10 years in the Olympics. And guys, listen, it's really hard to do when you have an Olympic break in the middle of the NHL season and it's in Pyeongchang. All right. That's not doable for pro athletes. So the NHL are like, why don't we just own international competition with our own athletes? We can control it. Yep. Right. The NHL athletes have an understanding of each other. They don't have to worry about some guy from Germany taking their head off. Yep. Right? Maybe Germany wasn't the best. Latvia, pick another country. Whatever. All right. And I think it's going to be good. I also think it's going to be interesting to see how physical these games are. But when you put a maple leaf, when you put a somi, when you put the 3 crowns of the flag of the United States of America on your chest, you're going to play. You're going to play. You're not going to go light with that on your chest. So I think this is going to be really cool to watch. It's a little bit of a longer break. It's like a 2-week break. It takes place, I think, over 8 days, right? So maybe not 2 weeks, obviously, but it should be good. And I'm excited to see it. And again, I think it's building towards something larger within the NHL community to bring back a true World Cup of hockey with the world's best athletes. And if you were going to start with 4 countries, these are the 4 to start with.
100%. Absolutely. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of the guys who aren't participating are looking forward to it because obviously it's their midseason break. So, like you said, it's
notably Alex Ovechkin is going to get a nice rest here. He is very close to breaking Gretzky's record now.
Yes, he's 17 away. I think I believe at this moment currently.
I'd say possible for this season. Everybody's like, he's going to do it. I'm like, it's possible for this season.
Right. Yes.
It's a lot of goals with not a ton of games left.
Yeah. He would need a goal every other game. Actually, a little more than that, but
which he could do. But
absolutely,
we will see. Like, he could come back from the break. He could get injured. Yeah. There's a lot of things that could happen. I hope he does it. But if he does it, it's going to be in the last week of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes the season 1 away, to be honest with you. We have the Capitals are in first place. Capitals are one of the best teams in the league out of nowhere.
Well, that's the thing. We need to kind of talk about like the standings, and we got so much other stuff to talk about with hockey. I mean, it's unbelievable right now what's kind of going on here with the standing. I mean, look, we've got some teams that are at the top, like the Panthers. It's not a surprise. Yeah. But right now, the Senators would be 3rd in the Atlantic Division.
It is a tight race right now in the entire Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
there's a couple teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Caps are running away with it, and the Sabres are
running away with
it. Buffalo. I'll say this for whatever. There's a joke going around is that as soon as Buffalo was mathematically eliminated, they started playing like this. Unbelievable. They won 4 in a row, and they are still in dead last, trailing the Flyers and the Penguins.
Well, that organization is poorly run, Ray. They do not have a championship atmosphere there. In fact, I'm going to say it. This is harsh criticism, but if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan, fight me. It's a loser mentality up there. Front office, back office, on the ice. It's a loser mentality. You have a loser mentality, guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose.
You're going to lose.
All right, so someone needs to go change that mindset and help them out of that rut because they've had plenty of players over the years. They could have been really good. But look, the Eastern Conference is awesome. It's how hockey should be. Every win, every point really matters right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You go down. I mean, we mentioned like the Flyers and Penguins are second and third to last in the East, but they're only 7 points back of a playoff.
You get hot right now, you could be right in.
You go on a 5 or 6 game winning streak, and suddenly you jump over everybody. Like it's really just that close. The Rangers are in that mix. They're 4 points currently back of
It's
Tampa
very
Bay.
surmountable. Yeah.
Yeah, like and well, Tampa Bay has a game in hand on us. We have a game in hand on Detroit, who has the first wild card right now. Rangers, a big win last night. They got beat up by Boston on Saturday, but then they got those 2 points back tonight. And in between that, really quickly before we move into the Western Conference, congratulations. Speaking, we talked about the American team. We talked about obviously the Four Nations. Jonathan Quick, the first American-born goaltender to get his 400th career win, did it on Sunday for the Rangers against the Vegas Golden Knights in a 4-2 Ranger victory, which boy, oh boy, they need that victory. But great to see Jonathan Quick get that. He'd been chasing that for a while this year. And and to see the Rangers mob him, like the Rangers knew how much that meant to him and how much that win meant.
Oh, yeah. He's the greatest American-born goaltender of all time, in my opinion.
100%.
And Ray and I, you and I had the pleasure to see him one time. We went to a Game 7 between the Sharks and the Kings many years ago. And I remember him making one of the most unbelievable saves I'd ever seen in my life.
Prime Jonathan Quick is one of the best goaltenders.
Yeah, there's a reason they won multiple cups.
Yeah, 100%, and he's a big part of that. So, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, one as the backup for the Golden Knights, and now has 400 career wins, first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion,
easily.
Yeah, so very interesting. Well, let's go into the West before we get to the trades, because although the NBA trade deadline is today, and we'll get to that in a bit. There's still some time before the NHL trade deadline, but a lot of stuff's been going on in the meantime. But first, real quick with the West, the Jets, I was a little surprised by this. Running away with the West right now. They have a 7-point lead over the Oilers. No surprise to see the Oilers in first in the Pacific, but and Vegas and the Kings doing so well. Colorado straightened themselves out. They're now solidly in that first wild card spot. And then oh my gosh, the Blackhawks and the Sharks are just I feel like at least there's hope in San Jose that they're building towards something. But like, you want to talk about a loser mentality, like with Buffalo? I feel like what's crazy is Chicago didn't used to have a loser mentality, but I feel like, Lee, that they've taken that on now with all of their front office controversies and troubles and all this other stuff. Yeah,
well, they got punched in the stomach pretty hard by themselves, right?
Yeah.
A few years back, you guys can look up that controversy, and they have not been able to recover. The truth is this: you have one of the best players in the league. You need to start surrounding that player. Again, this is one of those, what we were talking earlier, Ray, about like success is a bad thing. You got to let them grow. You got to let them get better. And I think also there was this attitude of Connor Bedard is going to come here and we're going to be a playoff team. And it's like, no, you're not.
No, he's one guy.
You got to build around him. You got to get goaltending. There's a lot of pieces. They will be good if he stays there. They will get better and better and better. But everybody forgets. It took the Capitals and the Penguins under Ovechkin and Crosby, their first years were horrendous teams. Yeah. I mean, really bad. The Penguins were one of the worst teams in history, I believe, that year. But we saw how it worked out for both of them. You got to give it time. Yeah, no, for sure. And the Western Conference is much more top-heavy than the Eastern Conference. The Jets are not a surprise to me. They've been good for several years. They've got
Connor Hellebuyck. Speaking of great goals,
one of the best goalies in the league, if not the best.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of guy like great goaltenders, Connor Hellebuyck does not get nearly enough flowers, in my opinion, for Winnipeg. And
because he's in Winnipeg.
Well, that's the problem, right? And it's that, but they've won 7 in a row again, and are just really kind of like
motoring.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to probably come down to them, Washington, and maybe Edmonton if they keep winning for possibly the President's Trophy. But I have been to Winnipeg. It is an insanely small city with a big heart, and it's interesting to see them. But they got to figure out a way to get over the hump as well. Once they get to the playoffs, they disappear. Like it just
and they can't happen this year. Like you guys have to learn. You have the pieces, make it happen.
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But we're about 30, a little less than 30 games left in the regular season. So it's going to be an interesting down the stretch.
Yeah.
But Lee, both of our teams have made some interesting moves.
Yep.
I mean, it's been crazy. I want to start with my Rangers, of course, because former New York Ranger JT Miller is now back in the the mix. And boy, oh boy, am I happy to see him back, because this is a guy who adds a degree of toughness that I don't think my team had before him. And he can play. I mean, he is a true two-way player. He hits, he can play, he can back check, and then obviously he can put the biscuit in the basket. He's a very good goal scorer. He had a multiple point game, even though the Rangers lost in his return against the Bruins. But the Rangers are 2-1 since that trade. Obviously, a very small sample size. But the Rangers have needed scoring depth for a while. And as much as sad as it is to see Filip Chytil go, Filip Chytil is injury prone, constantly hurt. You have to be on the ice in order to help the team. I mean, I think the biggest thing that we ended up giving to them was a first-round draft pick, which they ended up flipping to Pittsburgh for Marcus Pettersson. So in a way, actually, Vancouver fixed a lot of their issues too with picking up Pettersson. They also signed to a 6-year extension immediately.
Are you aware now that they have 3 Petterssons on that team?
Yes, and I saw it. The broadcaster was like, "God help me."
Pettersson passes to Pettersson, who passes to Pettersson, back to Pettersson for the shot. It's Pettersson.
Yes, yeah,
At least it's easy to say.
Yes, thank goodness, right? Like, holy cow! Like, could you imagine if it was something that had like a bunch of consonants in a row or something? Like,
yeah, Kasperitis.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, at that point you just go Casper passes to Casper, pass to Casper. Like you just but so all those Petterssons over there. Lee, what are your thoughts on the JT Miller trade?
You know what? I wonder, Ray, how important he was in the locker room for them to bring him back, right? Mm-hmm. So Rangers needed to do something, and they did something, right? They did something. So we'll see what happens. I mean, apparently a guy loves to be there. Maybe he's a real locker room guy that guys were upset that he had left. I mean, that seems like a culture move to me. So, I think that's one of those trades where both teams win.
Yeah. No, for sure. And again, especially because I think Vancouver, look, if Chytil can stay on the ice, he will develop into a nice forward, but he's not there now. Right. And the Rangers are still in very much, we still can win now if we get on a roll.
If they get on a roll, they can win the Stanley Cup. I really believe that.
Yeah. Look, I mean, they showed it last night. Like when Zibanejad and Kreider and now Miller, like when they're playing their game, the Rangers are tough to beat. Yeah. Problem is that they really haven't played their game that much this year.
They've had a culture issue that seems to have subsided a bit now. Now they just got to find the tracks.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So we'll see what happens. But again, look, the Rangers are, I think they're basically like 8-3-3 or something in their last 14, something like that.
Look, this Four Nations face-off break is going to be humongous for certain teams. All right?
Yes,
and I'm going to say it again: the Flyers, who are second to last in the Eastern Conference, are 7 points out of striking distance to a playoff spot. I mean, if they get real hot, I'm not saying they will, but if they get real hot, and we're about to talk about a trade they made,
yes,
you just don't know. I mean, any of these teams except Buffalo can make the playoffs right now. As of now, that's going 100%. To spread out in a few like about a month.
Yeah, absolutely. But absolutely, everybody again except for Buffalo is still in striking distance. But yeah, the Flyers made a big trade. I actually like this for the Flyers a lot. I know a lot of folks were very, very mad, particularly in my Twitch chat.
It's a brilliant trade for the Flyers. I don't know why anybody would be mad about this.
I don't understand either. First off, you clear up a little bit of cap space, which is always a good thing.
A lot of cap space between before some big drafts.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's also you're going to get multiple picks now from Calgary. You got Andrei Kuzmenko right now on one of your wingers. And to me, the biggest thing about this trade, I really like Jacob Pelletier. I think I'm saying that correctly.
You are. Yeah. I mean, look, Kuzmenko is this is where everybody's missing it. He's one of Michkov's best friends.
Yeah.
Right. And Matvei Michkov has been having a hard time the last few weeks, particularly with Torts. So he brought his best friend in. And make no mistake, Flyers fans, that kid is the future of the entire team.
Yeah.
So they're starting to rebuild around this kid, make him a little more comfortable. He's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
All right. You can see it. I mean, Travis Konechny right now is points the best player on the team. He's got a lot of experience. Michkov is going to be our best player. It is so obvious. All right. Yeah. And then I didn't mind that trade at all. And again, for what's it called? Herbie and
Frost.
Frost, yeah, like good players, but they weren't evolving. And now they will evolve in Calgary, which is good for them.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Interesting thing. And we got draft picks too.
Yes, you also got a second round pick, and then a seventh round pick several years in a row. But a second round pick in this coming draft. That's a big part of it too. But again, I really like Jacob Pelletier. I think this is another kid who I think with a fresh start is going to get a really good shot in the arm. I mean, he was a second round draft pick just a couple of years ago. He's very young. I feel like, you brought in some good young offensive scoring talent. And while I understand, Frost is 25, Farabee is 25.
Yeah, they're going to be good. They're going to be very good.
Like, I feel like the Flyers, though, came out ahead in this trade. And obviously time will tell. But like on paper, this was a good move for Briere.
Well, people are like, we're selling the farm. Like, I think they want to see how Kuzmenko does with Michkov here over the next few weeks. But now the funny story with him, Ray, is he hasn't played yet because there was some visa issues with his paperwork, and then he was supposed to play tonight, and his flight out of Toronto got canceled, so he's not playing tonight. But he'll be back in the next game. So we'll see. Everybody's kind of holding tight to see what happens with that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. Also, really quickly before we end up with hockey, Utah is in the middle of voting for their new name because Yeti is not available.
Yeah, man. Can't. The cup company didn't like it.
No, they did not. The trademark office for the U.S. said, and so now the option is they can either stay as the hockey club or they put it up to a fan vote. They can be the Utah Outlaws, which is fine, or the one that I would prefer, the Utah Mammoth. I think that's just cool. And I would think a woolly mammoth. And then you have the Mammoth versus the Predators in the Central. And I think that could be a lot of fun. Lee, what are your thoughts on the controversy for naming the Utah Hockey Club?
I believe the Utah Mammoth will be the newest team in the NHL, the newest name in the NHL. It's too cool. Mammoth. Outlaws is okay. It's okay, but Mammoth is a better name. It works with the area. It's a way better name than Predators. I have no idea how Nashville thought that was a good idea. Right? I know we found a saber-toothed tiger. Not sure how you ended up on Predators with that, guys. There's so many other ways you could have gone with that.
Oh my God.
Anyway, they're like, well, Sabres is taken. Can't do the Cats. That's the Panthers. Figure it out, you morons. Predators. That's a cool name. I think it's going to be the Mammoth. But they win with Outlaw as well. I don't think they need to do the Utah Hockey Club. That's kind of soccer's thing.
Yes.
And I don't think that they need to do that in ice hockey. I think the Mammoth is a great name, great logo, great color scheme. And I'm going to say it again. If they pick Outlaws, that's fine too. I like names that don't end in S. I think it's cool when you can do that.
Yes,
I think you should always do that when you can.
Yes, I think the Mammoth is a great. I just
think it's Utah Mammoth.
Yeah, if you can't do Yeti, I think the Mammoth is the way to go. So, so we'll see what happens there.
I never loved Yeti. I'm not gonna lie to you. Everybody liked that name. I'm like, I don't. It didn't blow my mind. I was like, look, they just did the Kraken. You don't need to do a mythical creature. I mean, Golden Knight Kraken. Be the Mammoth. It was a real thing. All right, you don't have to be the woolly mammoths or the blue mammoths. Thanks, Columbus, the dumbest name in sports.
I know.
You gave your team a minor league baseball name, the Blue Jackets. You could have named it the Union, the Columbus Union. It's a great name.
Yeah,
you schmucks. We should have just went for it. Just been the Columbus Confederacy and just see what happens.
Oh God, that would not have gone.
That would have been fun.
That would have been very bad. That would have been very bad. Very bad. But speaking of fun, we are just under 2 hours away from the NBA trade deadline coming to an end. And a lot of teams on the bubble have been making a lot of big moves, right? Like the teams at the top, the Knicks, the Celtics, the Cavs, right? The Thunder kind of just hanging back. They're good, right? All these teams are 15, 16, 17 games above 500, if not more. But the teams that are on the bubble, those teams that would be like the play-in teams or whatever in the NBA, a lot of moves made in the big one. I thought it was a troll because I was actually at a comedy show when it happened. It's true. I was at the Ice House.
That was weird. Yeah.
The Lakers. I mean, there's other pieces of all the big thing though is that the Lakers get Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. Dallas, you've sent a generational scorer to LeBron James.
Thanks.
I mean, look, and Anthony Davis is having a great year when he's healthy. He's having a very good year. He's a great player, right? Anthony Davis is a great player. But, like, and the Lakers have made other moves, by the way, to also, like, continue to build. Like, the Lakers have been very busy for this trade deadline. They picked up a center from the Hornets, I believe, yesterday as well. But, like, you send a guy who basically carried Dallas to the finals last year, like, by himself. And now you've stuck him with LeBron James. Was it a locker room issue? Did you really? I mean, the sad thing is Luka had just bought like a $15 million mansion or whatever in Dallas or whatever.
It's a weird move. It's a weird move.
It just, like, this dude thought he was going to be in Dallas for a long, long time. And, like, there is a money aspect to this. Basically, it takes money out of Luka's pocket in one way because it means he's no longer eligible for the Supermax contract, which means he can't. Which would have been on 5 years, $300 million or whatnot in the NBA. Which, don't get me started on their salary cap stuff. But, like, he's no longer eligible for that. But in some ways, you just sent him to the second biggest market in the country on probably the second, one of, if not one, definitely 1A most marketable team in the NBA with LeBron freaking James.
Don't forget Bronny.
Everybody forgets about Bronny. But anyway, but the point is like, this is a team now, like, the Lakers, this is a steal for the Lakers, in my opinion. I'm sorry. I mean, look, again, Anthony Davis, nice player. He's going to go with Kyrie Irving. Like, it's not like Dallas is going to suddenly, like, just fall off the face of the earth. But I wouldn't be surprised now if the Lakers suddenly go on a run.
Yeah, this is classic bad boy GMing. I don't know what to say to you. Like, you get a superstar with another superstar, even though he's an aging superstar. I think the Lakers are looking towards the future here a bit more than just him and LeBron.
LeBron is only like, what, 25?
Yeah, LeBron's getting old. They definitely needed a face of the franchise here. So that, I think that, Ray, you're 100% in what you're saying about him playing with LeBron. LeBron's almost 40. All right, so this is a smart move by the Lakers. If they don't win with Anthony Davis in Dallas, like, immediately, you got a real problem. I mean, season tickets are being canceled. The GM's going up there like, oh, these are the type of moves. I mean, something happened that they traded this guy, and we'll never know what it is. No, but something happened. That is a weird trade. Every sports analyst is like, I don't get it. I think we all want to be made to be like, oh, okay, it worked out for everybody. That made a lot of sense. That's why they do what they do, but nobody seems to feel that way right now. And we'll see what happens. But the Lakers setting themselves up really nicely here. Again, a move for the future. It's not so he could play with LeBron. It's LeBron's going to retire soon, and they needed somebody else. Dallas does not have that excuse with Davis. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
I don't get it either. I don't get it. Like, wow. Couple other moves. One, De'Aaron Fox, superstar for the Kings, goes to the Spurs, so he's going to be teamed with Wembanyama now, which is interesting. Zach Levine. It's a 3-team trade with the Bulls. Zach Levine goes to the Kings along with a boatload of picks. That was interesting to see. I guess the Kings are kind of just like, well, I guess we're going to rebuild again. We're going to get 6 draft picks. Like,
it's a lot of picks.
I mean, Zach Levine's a good player too, but, like, I think De'Aaron Fox is definitely the best player in that deal. And he goes to the Spurs now, and the Spurs are basically, like, not this year. The Spurs are like with Victor Wembanyama, whose name I always butcher. I'm so sorry. Wemby with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox now. That's a heck of a 1-2 punch there in San Antonio. Probably not going to do anything this year. But that's suddenly now they've got a nice young core, and suddenly it feels like it's the Spurs and the Lakers again in the West. What? Didn't see that coming. But anyway, you know what else I didn't see coming?
What?
Jey Uso.
Ooh.
Won the Royal Rumble. Yeet. I did not see that coming, and I kind of didn't need to see it, Lee. I'm not going to lie. I mean, look, I understand why they did it. The dude moves merch. The kids love him. he had, and credit where it's due, he has done an amazing job on this singles run to get himself over and distance himself and his brother in a natural, organic, fun way. Like, he had a short Intercontinental title reign, but he calls himself Main Event Jey Uso, and he will now be in one of the main events of WrestleMania, in my opinion, probably going after Gunther. But Lee, the Men's Royal Rumble on Sunday, didn't see that. First off, not as many surprises as I thought. I was a little shocked and saddened.
You didn't like iShow Speed?
I loved seeing him get speared and then fall away slammed through a table. Like,
yeah, it was a pretty vanilla Royal Rumble. I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
yes,
both
Rumbles, to be fair. I was not.
Yeah,
that impressed.
I mean, they set it up as Cena's gonna win, and then he didn't win. It's like, oh, right, there's the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, when we get to the Cena thing too, and it's a good chance to put somebody like Jay over.
Yeah, he's earned
right.
it.
And there were some good showings. Like, I think the Roman, Seth, CM Punk thing is going to continue to simmer. Obviously, now Punk and Cena are in the both going to be in the Elimination Chamber. I think there's going to be. I think this is going to be a very interesting retirement tour with Cena. I also like the new graphics they had. And oh wait, Lee.
What?
10, 9, 8.
Oh my God!
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, here we go. Hello. Who's ready for WrestleMania?
Oh my goodness, it is WrestleMania. We're on the road to WrestleMania here with Xavier from the New to Wrestling podcast. What's up, buddies? Welcome to the producer of our show.
Hello.
I wanted to have you on for this segment, buddy, because I want to get your thoughts on the Rumble on Saturday night.
So much like the last pay-per-view, I want to preface this. The Royal Rumble is like my bread and butter as far as like the WWE goes. That is my favorite
Amen, brother. Amen.
Every year. It was okay. I thought it was okay.
It was.
I few like things I enjoy. I love that Triple H is like cutting back on like not every pay-per-view needs to be 17 hours long.
Yes.
So great. If you're going to have 2-hour-long Rumble matches, just give me 4 matches total. As far as like I'll start with the women's one. It just felt like we've seen it before. We've seen Charlotte Flair on top. It just felt very, if you were going to have Charlotte go over, I would have liked to have seen a more standout performance like in the Rumble.
Yes.
From her.
She should have wrestled for at least like 40 minutes or something, and like
it felt she was protected, and then which was very much evident by the reaction she got on social media, as well as the reaction she got on her promo the following night on Raw. Whereas very much
Charlotte can never be a face.
No.
Never.
It doesn't work. And it's like, you don't have to be. You're a Flair. Why bother? Like,
yeah,
100%.
We all buy it because you're that good. So just say you're that good and move on.
Yeah.
I think even mid promo, she kind of was just like, "Yeah, I'm just going to be a heel, and like I'm the best ever, and I'm the GOAT, and blah blah blah."
It definitely picked up like after that fact. And for the men's one, I'm very much in the same boat as you. Like I understand why Jey Uso like was the pick. I think that Cena having a movie to go shoot probably has a big deal in the decision making.
Yeah. Which he's openly said at his press conference, like, I need to go shoot a movie. I'm like, thank you, John Cena.
Right. So I get it. To me, the Jey Uso thing just felt rushed, and it was very much evident in that like Jey Uso didn't know that he was winning until a couple hours before the show. But that could also be because Triple H is doing his damnedest to swerve the
world,
the rumor mill in the wrestling world.
Well, I mean, even the one thing that even Cole said it, which I thought was hysterical, was in the women's rumble when Alexa Bliss came back, and like Cole was like, "But the dirt sheets, Pat, they said that she was never coming back, that there was nothing for her to do here, and here she is, Alexa Bliss." Like, the fact that like it's obvious the WWE is aware of what's going on, and now that they're aware of that, they are going to spin that into their favor as best as they can.
Amen.
Yeah. So, I was happy to see Joe Hendry there. Another thing that was like kind of a swerve, but less so. I think folks were still expecting that, especially once Jordan Grace showed up in the Women's Rumble. Everybody was like, "Oh, Joe Hendry's going to definitely be here." He looked great. Could care less about the tag match. Could care less about the ladder match, except for the fact that I still think that Cody needs to either turn heel or drop the damn belt.
But I think we're getting the start of that, just based on his actions, like after the bell, the cheering over Owens, like essentially dead body on the ladder, and I think that's going to lead towards your Super Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, where we finally get to see the flip for Cody.
The full heel. Yeah, whoever wins the Chamber is going to definitely be the face. So it's either going to be Punk or Cena. I think that's part of the reason why those two are the first two to qualify for that match. But Zabi, I wanted to bring something up to you. I came up with this last night, and I think I'm a damn genius.
Humble too, yeah.
just like Charlotte Flair.
Just humble.
We know Cena said it in his press conference. Cena wants the record. He wants that 17th title reign. And there's two ways this is going to go. They're either not going to give it to him, and he's just going to put people over for the next year, and much like Shawn Michaels kind of did, and like a lot of other guys like the Dudleys did for the tag team division, just put people over for a year and then fade away into the sunset. Or I think you put the title on him, and you put a countdown on to you'd be like, look, I'm only around till December 1st or whatever it is. Somebody tried to take this off me until then. Otherwise, and in a weird way, almost maybe make him a little bit of a heel. I'm walking out of WWE with the championship. And then Triple H says, we can't have that. So we're going to do what I'm going to call the Spartan match. And the Spartans were famous for being carried out of the battlefield on their shield. And it's basically a retirement gauntlet match where Cena has to wrestle everybody in a row until somebody beats him and becomes the new champion. And you kick off on Monday Night Raw on one night with that, and then this way, this way fans won't know how long the match is or whatever. You kick it off on Raw, and it could be the first person in a 10-minute match. It could be the fifth person in a 30-minute match. It could be the 10th person in a 60-minute match. You don't know. But Cena has to go until he loses, and whoever beats him is the new WWE champion.
That's fantastic. I love that. And it's very apropos for Cena specifically.
Yes.
Like if anybody's going to do it.
All that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
a great idea, Ray. It really is a great idea. And we'll have to tag WWE in these segments here. But the idea is that, he's either going to win and they have to do something special like that, or, my thought is also that there could be a moral thing, which is also very Cena, where it's like, you know what? I don't need this. I just need to retire, right? It was never about the belt. I don't love that idea. I like Ray's idea a lot better. But I think it is possible he might lose the main event. And it wasn't about that to begin with. That's very wholesome, drink your milk level of.
I think I also think it is quite possible, especially we knock on AEW deservedly a lot, but
not always, but a lot the last year or so.
Yeah, one thing I think they did do really well, they did give Sting quite the treatment on the way out the door, and now 100%. That we know that that's kind of an option, because generally retirements in wrestling you go out on your back, but right. There are very few exceptions to that, like your Trish Stratus, your Sting. So being that Cena is Super Cena, and has on record been I'm never going heel, right. or doing heelish things, going out on top probably would also be appropriate.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Finish the story again.
Again.
Everybody's got to finish the story. Everybody's got a story to finish. I'm still trying to start my story, but anyway. All right. Well, on that note, Zavi, I'm throwing you over the top rope. Get out of here.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for popping on, buddy. I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Make sure you check out the Noodle Wrestling podcast here when you get a chance. Okay. Well, just you and me now.
Yes, we're back to normal. We're back to normal.
Do we have to do like a 10-minute stare like they do in real wrestling?
No, we're not going to do.
Yeah,
we're going to point to the. We're going to point to the sign. There we go. Pointing to the Geeks sign. There we go.
Mine's there.
Point to the sign. Point to the sign.
I'll point it.
There we go.
You didn't win though. Yeah, I gotta get behind it. It's okay.
All right. Point to the sign. There we go. All right. Thank you to Xavier for popping on. Get his thoughts. Check out the check out the new The Wrestling Podcast. It's great stuff. So
if you love the Attitude Era, you'll love Xavier's take.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We
have breaking news here on Geeks Who Like Sports, an NBA trade.
Details still coming in, and this was a possibility. Because I said this is a possibility because we didn't even mention Jimmy Butler got traded last night from the Heat to the Golden State Warriors, and that was because Kevin Durant came out publicly and said, I do not want to be traded back to the Warriors. Well, he didn't get traded to the Warriors. Kevin Durant just got traded to the Timberwolves. Holy cow, folks.
I'm
the
trying
NBA
to
landscape.
confirm, where is this? Where'd you see that, Caitlin, our other producer?
Caitlin.
We interrupt this broadcast for breaking news that's being brought to you on a recorded podcast. So it is not breaking there, but it is for us.
Yes. He's using this after the fact. This is happening as we're recording. I'm on Twitter right now looking for stuff.
Caitlin, where did you see that? You have to tell us the source.
Yeah, you can't just drop that bomb on us.
I believe she's probably telling the truth.
I'm sure she is, but there's also so many, or at least what she thought was the truth.
Yeah, right. That's becoming a common thing.
That has become a very common thing. Is that now sometimes it's easier than ever to get fooled. Check your sources, ladies and gentlemen. Check your sources. But Caitlin, I got notified on my phone and swiped it away. That doesn't help us, Caitlin. Well, we will come back to that. Also, not the backtrack to the NBA, but I did want to go back. I forgot that. I knew I was forgetting one of the trades. We were so blown away by the Luka trade.
Yeah.
Lee, what about your thoughts? Jimmy Butler had obviously been on the outs with Miami for a while. He basically let it known he didn't want to be there. He was suspended by the team earlier in the year. What are your thoughts on Butler getting traded to the Warriors? Does this Warriors deal? Does the Warriors who are 25-25 also on the bubble? Does suddenly now Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, does this make them a threat in the West? What are your thoughts on the Jimmy Butler trade that happened at the 11th hour last night?
Jimmy Butler is an impact player when he wants to be, and it's completely on him. So we will see what that means. You never know with this guy, right? He could show up and be a game changer. He could show up and nothing will happen. It's up to him.
I mean, he's carried the Heat to playoff wins,
and then they benched him.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's the reason why they even made the finals a couple of years ago. Random baseball news that nobody's going to care about except for me. Jason Dominguez will officially wear number 24 starting next year with the Yankees as a starting left fielder. Anyway, I see that news on my Twitter feed, but I see nothing about this Kevin Durant trade. So we'll see if this is actually real or if producer Gaitlin got swerved like we all did with Jey Uso going over at the Royal Rumble. We will see. So maybe not, but we'll see as we are looking for confirmation now desperately as producer Caitlin completely torpedoes the show. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I don't know if she's listening to that.
I'm teasing Caitlin. I'm teasing, and suddenly you see my feed just cut out. She pulls the plug or something. But yeah. Anyway, all right. We'll come back to that. If we get confirmation on that and we get the details, we will come back to that. But I'm glad we did touch on the Butler trade. I know I was forgetting something. I wanted to get to the Royals so much, and then going to the geek section now. I had a pretty nice weekend, Lee. I got to go to the 52nd annual.
You went back to the future.
Yes, I got to meet Christopher Lloyd, and I am very happy about that.
Excellent job.
Thank you. It was great. The Silent Awards are great. Of course, that's the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. And obviously a ton of stuff going on. William Shatner got the Lifetime Achievement Award, as well he should have. Dune Part 2 got Best Sci-Fi Film. Special award. Yeah. Yes. Best there are other special awards like Superman and Lois got a special award just for it's basically called the Legacy Award in recognition of its contribution to superhero storytelling. Lawrence Fishburne got the Lance Reddick Award. Just overall, and Back to the Future got the special George Powell Memorial Award for its 40th anniversary, which is why Christopher Lloyd was there and why I got to hang out with him for 30 seconds, which was cool. Just a really, really fun thing. And honestly, it just felt great. Like it was like everybody gave really great speeches. Peter Weller was there, obviously from RoboCop, just gave this great speech about how happy he was to be in that room full of like all the people that he loved and like just how much fun it is to tell what they call genre storytelling. Nicolas Cage gave a great speech talking about the horrors of AI and the kind of, the fight against it. As he won as a Best Actor award for Dream Scenario.
Harrison Ford also just did that with The Great Circle. He said that the actor that performed as him in that game is proof we don't need AI to replace actors. Of course, every actor is going to say that right now.
Sure, but it is also true. Like you can't. There's a human element.
What if that was an AI Harrison Ford that said that?
It wasn't. You need a human element in acting that AI cannot and hopefully will never be able to replicate.
We need to note, Savi, I need to create an AI version of myself to do this podcast next week. It's going to be great. How is it in Philadelphia, Lee? Things are excellent.
Oh,
Go Birds.
Colin Farrell won Best
for
Actor.
lunch, right?
Yeah. Colin Farrell won Best Actor in a TV series.
Who knows?
For the Penguin. I appreciate. You know what he did? He shouted out Burgess Meredith. I have so much more respect for him now because now he's talking about the OG, and I'm all for that. Demi Moore won Best Actress. Just overall, just very, very. It was a great award show. There was one other speech I wanted to call out. I can't remember it now for being just. William Shatner's speech was very impactful.
It was fantastic.
Just being like, I knew my lines. I showed up on time, and that's so much
secret of my success. Yeah,
it's critical of like just work hard and be a professional. What a concept. It was a beautiful award show. It was really, really well done. And just a ton of fun, and I'm so honored to have been invited and to have been there and to have had a wonderful free chicken dinner. And because I'll do anything for a free meal. But it was great. No, it was just really, really good. Met Sam Witwer,
right?
Almost anything. Sam Witwer, voice of Darth Maul and Star Killer, of course, in Star Wars. He was very cool. Everybody was great. Everybody was really, really cool. I talked even the folks who I didn't get pictures with or whatever, I talked to Phil Lamar, I talked to Bitsy Tulloch, who played Lois in the Superman and Lois show. Everybody's just really cool. It was just really great.
Yeah, the geek community is the best community.
Yeah, 100%.
By far. Everybody else is worried about so many other things. We're just like, but how did Palpatine come back?
Yeah. I don't think Star Wars won anything.
No, those days are coming. I'll tell you what, in Star Wars, Ray, it was kind of brought out what George Lucas's original idea for the sequels would have been. It was very dark and very good, and you guys can go look that up. But long story short is that followed a bit more of the Heir to the Empire type series in terms of character development. But I wish they had listened to him more and not done what they had done. I don't know why Hollywood thinks, we know better than you, George Lucas.
Why wouldn't they bring him in as a consultant? Don't make him direct it. Don't make him write, but bring him in as a consultant.
Yeah. The other funny thing with George Lucas this week, I saw this as a meme. He didn't actually say this, but 25 years ago when Phantom Menace came out, everybody was complaining about a movie about tariffs and all this government control. Who wants to see tariffs in a movie? And they're like, wow, that Phantom Menace just got ridiculously relevant.
Yep. George Lucas predicting the future.
Is that legal? We will make it legal.
Unbelievable.
So a man ahead of his time. Always ahead of his time.
Always. That's the thing, is that in the moment you just wow. So how sometimes things age terribly. And they start off great and then age terribly, and sometimes things start off terribly and they age great, and that's a case of that one.
And again, in his
great.
just for those you wondering, in his sequels, it was all about the power vacuum left from the Empire leaving, and the hero villain story was actually the New Republic versus the Hutts and the Crime Syndicate, which was ran by Darth Maul. So like these are all things we've wanted, right? So the sequels would be the New Republic versus the Crime Syndicates, which is kind of what, the Mandalorian is getting into a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, it was right there. And they just said, let's bring back the Empire again.
Yeah.
Somehow the Empire returned.
Yeah. Maybe they should do a mulligan and just do what George Lucas wanted.
I wish they would, because the foresight of it was also Han and Leia's kids again. And turning one of them to the dark side. It wasn't Kylo Ren, obviously.
Yeah.
And it just sounds better on paper, but what do we know?
Yeah, what do we know?
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
I still love that bit from Bill Murray. Legit breaking news. Virginia McCaskey, the Bears owner, 102 years old, just passed away.
Yes.
So it's very sad. So still looking for some kind of confirmation from that other news. I think Caitlyn got scammed. I think Caitlyn needs better sources. I think she needs to start following good people, and stop following all the trash on the Twitter. So that's my recommendation for they stop following trash on Twitter, folks. That's your PSA of the day. Moving on in the geek realm, this is a lot of fun. Moving to Mortal Kombat.
You didn't say that right.
Mortal Kombat.
Thank you. I'm here for you.
I appreciate it. This has been teased for a while that there was yet another ninja in the in the Mortal Kombat realm. Yes, you have to remember, right there. They already had a ninja that was whose name was Rain, and he was purple.
Yeah, Purple
Rain.
Rain.
Get it? Purple Rain. Get it?
Yes, I get it.
So Ed Boon a while ago started the rumor that there was another ninja named Floyd, and he was pink.
Pink Floyd.
Yes.
Love it.
And now it is legit.
It's real.
Pink Floyd is in the game. They added Pink Floyd, the pink ninja, to Mortal Kombat as a special character that you can fight. You can't play as him, but you can fight him and then unlock a new arena in the game. If you beat him, and he has the abilities of all the other ninjas, which makes him very tough to play because he can do everything from Sub-Zero's freeze to Reptile's acid spit to Scorpion's spear, the various slides and teleport moves. And it's actually cool how he even comes into the screen where he comes in through a prism of every color ninja, and then he just appears.
It's great. Pink Floyd.
This is just a lot of fun, and I can't wait for Mortal Kombat 2A. I don't know what they're going to call the next one because they went from 11 back to 1. So I don't know what that means. When we know we're going to get another Mortal Kombat eventually because it makes too much money for them not to do another Mortal Kombat. I don't know what they'll call the next one, but hopefully we can play as Floyd in that. That would be crazy. Yeah,
Purple Rain versus Pink Floyd. Who wins that one?
Pink Floyd.
Easily. Yeah. No offense, Prince.
No, yeah. I mean, in terms of Mortal Kombat ninjas, Floyd beats Rain.
Floyd.
Yeah. Floyd has all the abilities.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So I thought that was fun.
That's
that was
a cute geek nod. We need some positive geek news.
Yeah, and that's cool on NetherRealm to have done that. That's a lot of fun to have added that to the game and gives people a reason to go back and play Mortal Kombat 1, where if you're like me, you deleted it a while ago. So it was good, but I beat it. I'm good. Like I'm set. Let's see. Other video game news. It's not all just firings, although there was a lot more of those the last couple weeks too, folks. Microsoft announced a bunch of release dates for South of Midnight, Expedition 33, Doom: The Dark Ages. Microsoft's going to have a slew starting in end of February, going through like end of May. They're going to have a slew of big titles on Game Pass. That is going to, like, if you're not on Game Pass, we always sing its praises, but like the next 3 months, it's going to be a good time to be on Game Pass. And it also announced, and they also just added a remake of Ninja Gaiden. I think it was Ninja Gaiden Black, I believe it was, or is Ninja Gaiden one of those? The new more recent Ninja Gaiden games, and announced Ninja Gaiden 4, which is a big deal in the 3D realm. And it's you don't play as Ryu Hayabusa, you play as a new ninja. But it's being made by Platinum Games. Who of course have a terrific pedigree in crazy fighting and whatnot. So he's super over the top. So if you love Ninja Gaiden and you love Game Pass, next few months are gonna be real good for you. So Lee, are you looking forward to any of those games? Are you a Ninja Gaiden fan? What are your thoughts on this Microsoft being like, we have games coming? Yay!
I mean, I played the original Ninja Gaiden many times.
The side scroller,
very fun game with a really deep story. That's the thing that I remember about that game is like the game really takes a minute to get going because they really want you to understand you're going for this dude's dad. So interesting stuff. Always good. Microsoft doing what we've been saying they're going to do for the last 5 years. The Jedi are taking over.
Oh, goodness. Oh, man. So, anyway, I'm doing one more check to see if there's any kind of a trade.
No, let's get into the trailers. There's been a lot of trailers here coming out.
Yeah.
We are about to go back into full-ass Marvel mode here.
Yes.
And it's been a wait, and I'm ready for it.
The thing is, before we get to Marvel, because I want to end on a high note.
But no, the Marvel.
I know. I want to end on a high note because the other trailer came out yesterday, and all I can say is why.
Oh, sure. We can skip the head to this. Well, it's not. This trailer's not for us, right? It's for kids.
Is it though?
I hope so, because I haven't. Because
it seems like it's gonna be extra. It's gonna be extra violent if it's for kids.
It felt like the Lost World kind of trailer to me. It's like the dinosaurs are back again, and this time the Black Widow is here to stop them. Jurassic World 12 Rebirth.
It is like Jurassic Park 7 or something, right? I think it's 7.
Well, listen, there were what, 3 Jurassic Parks?
There was the original 3,
and then there was the 3 Jurassic World trilogy,
right? Yeah. And now we don't need a rebirth.
Well,
we don't need another Jurassic Park.
What I didn't like about it is, and again, I think this is not for us, this film. That'd be my guess. But what I didn't like about it was like the explanation of like, this is where they kept the extra dangerous dinosaurs that you never saw, and now the extra dangerous dinosaurs are here. It's like, guys, I think we're getting a little bit away in the magic of
one of them, and then the one of them looked like almost like a gorilla dinosaur hybrid or something.
Yeah, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
And
these are
it's
extra dangerous dinosaurs. And
also, I already don't want to root for any of the main characters because why are they going to this island? We need to get the DNA.
The DNA.
Why?
Because
they
need the DNA.
Why?
That's
all I kept asking from this whole trailer. The whole 2.5 minutes.
Hey, come on. I mean, most 90s movies were like this, to be fair. Maybe they're trying to bring it. The 90s are back in right now. Maybe they're trying to do this. 4 souls have to get something they don't really need to get, and there's dinosaurs.
Why?
Where's Michael
Why?
Clayton? Michael Clayton's probably like, what are you doing?
Oh.
I wish they'd go back to the original island. Maybe they did do that already. I haven't seen the last few movies.
I haven't watched, since the first Jurassic World, I stopped.
Yeah, which was okay. I was like, all right, I'm not feeling this. It's for kids.
I don't think it's... The music's great.
Oh,
I think the music is great.
Yeah.
Anyway. See, this is why I wanted to end on... I wanted this flip-flop the trailers.
A lot of great Marvel trailers have come out.
Yes. The biggest one is the Fantastic Four First Steps. We got the full look. It looks great. I don't know why people are ragging on how Ben Grimm looks because that's how the thing looks.
That's how he looks in the comics.
I don't understand. And it's
that's
just
like the most comic accurate version I've ever seen.
I agree. But the internet's dumb. Stay off of Twitter. Again, second time doing that PSA.
I saw one yesterday. It was like, maybe they're coming from Earth 616 and going to a different world. Now they're stuck in that world. They're trying to get back to Earth 616. I'm like, that's a bit much.
Yeah, the multiverse theories that are coming. I mean, it's from every direction.
Yeah, the multiverse theory is they're in another universe and they're probably going to find a way to get into that 616 universe. That's probably what's going to happen.
We know that somehow that's what's going to happen, but focus on the fun of they're taking on Galactus.
Yes, finally, correctly.
Yes. Like, I mean, this is going to be amazing. I love that they're already established. We're going to get a couple of flashbacks, I'm sure. But, like, for the most part, it is an established. They are established. They are well known. The Baxter building is all set. Like, they are celebrities. You know, and I actually saw some interesting analysis on TikTok. Because it's true. We forget that the Fantastic Four were created during the space race.
Yeah.
Like, they were astronauts. And the reason why the Fantastic Four were so popular then and are still popular now is that astronauts are universally cool.
They are universally cool.
Space exploration is cool. Like, and that's what the Fantastic Four is, and that's why it's great, and that's why they're already kind of like celebrities and established. And like, I would love it if we saw other villains besides Galactus, like somehow Mole Man or somebody else, like even just a cold open or something. Probably not, but like, it's going to be great. By the way, if you need a Mole Man, I'm willing to play the. I'm willing to play the Mole Man. Just want to put it out there.
You could pull that off.
I could definitely absolutely pull Mole Man. Yeah. But like it just. No, I'm super excited for this. I think that. I think it's well cast. Everybody seems to be like just perfect for all their roles. I am not sick of Pedro Pascal. I know there was also some talk about maybe some oversaturation of him. It's like, no, he's a movie star. That's what a movie star is.
Yeah.
They're in movies. They're in all the big movies.
He's a big star right now. I don't know why it's such a hard idea.
Again, I think it's people just crapping on greatness. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. Lee, Fantastic Four trailer. Let's go.
Yeah, no, listen, it's a modern 1960s futuristic world. I like that we don't know what's going on. The cast is great. They're well casted. It should be a lot of fun. Like, just enjoy it, guys. Just enjoy the movie. People are like, oh, RDJ is going to be in the film and they're going to introduce Dr. Doom. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Just enjoy the movie. It looks like Galactus is the bad guy, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, all these old actors are coming back. They're going to be in it. Stop thinking and enjoy the movies. We didn't do this when the original Iron Man came. Nobody, when Iron Man came out, or even Thor or Captain America was like, well, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. These three people, it's just going to be like, hey, this is a great ride. Let's sit on the ride, you spoiled bastards. Just enjoy the ride. Stop trying to guess what's going to happen. You're not cool. All right? That's our job. We're podcasters with a massive audience. All right? You got to listen to us.
Yes. No, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great. But you mentioned Dr. Doom, and it needs to be talked about. They're saying that at least Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom, showing leaning into it more and more that he just might be an alternate, and they're going to explain it. He might be at the end of this movie, and then he'll be in the 2 Avengers Doomsday films, and then that's it. And I'll say this: you can't do that with Dr. Doom. But if RDJ's Doom is just a variant, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay 100%. With it too. I don't know why people hate this so much. If there's an anti-Avengers, I'm fine with it. I wouldn't mind a bad Spider-Man, I don't understand why people are so up in arms about this. Well, it's not how they do in the comic. There's a billion different universes they could pick from. Guys, I'm fine if the original Avengers come back as bad guys and the Avengers have to take on the new Avengers have to take on the old Avengers. I love that idea.
Yeah. Not to mention, again, we've also established now with Krasinski as one Reed Richards and Pedro as another. Yeah. That yes, sometimes variants. We even established it obviously in Loki. Yeah. We had Gator Loki and Kid Loki and Black Loki. Loki.
Yeah.
Loki, and then you had Old Man Loki, and you had all this other stuff. Like you had all these other Lokis, and it was like okay, like it. Different guys can play different Lokis, and different guys can play different Reed Richards, and different guys can play Dr. Doom.
Yeah. I like it. I even like the idea of it being like an anti-Iron Man Dr. Doom, even though that's not comic accurate. We'll see what happens. In that universe, maybe they're the same. I don't mind. I'm gonna say it again. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah. You know what will be also interesting, however?
Yeah, I see it written here, but I'm curious about what you're gonna talk about because I don't know what this is.
There's a rumor that Marvel is going to forgive Jonathan Majors and let him come back as Kang.
Interesting.
I am very curious to see, A, if there's any validity to this. I am also okay, again, with just recasting him. Like, I'm okay with, you want to keep using Kang? Perfectly fine. You can recast him.
Yeah, I don't know why that's a problem.
And in that digital scene there at the end of Ant-Man 3.
They gave you a gift.
Yeah, like you can just redigitize it with somebody else. You can still have him be in Ant-Man 3. Again, it's established. Different people can play the same character. You can choose somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know why it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you bring him back, you bring him back. I mean, look, again, there is of course, we talk about this. You do your time. You should be allowed to repent and whatnot. And that's up to, it's up to every individual, whether or not you want to forgive him or not. But if Disney wants to forgive Jonathan Majors, well, that'll be interesting to see what happens.
They have to figure out something with Kang. They can't just ignore the Council of Kangs. So
right.
We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we're going to have the Council of Reeds. We're going to have a bunch of Dr. Dooms. We're going to have the Council of Kangs. Everybody's going to have everybody. I wonder who I could play. Which council would I be on? I think I'd be a Reed Richards.
You?
Or a Doom. Or I'd be Dr. Doom. I'd be Dr. Doom.
You?
Yeah.
Today's mashup is going to be, who would Ray be in the comics? He'd be the Thing.
Yeah, I could be the Thing.
That's who you are.
Yeah. I mean, or the Hulk.
Put some garlic in this to give it a little bit of zip.
Yeah, no, that's a great line.
Yeah.
Also, I love the fact that they have Herbie.
Yeah, me too.
Which for folks who don't know, all right, you're gonna get your geek history lesson of the day here. Do you know, Lee? Do you know why Herbie is part of the Fantastic Four?
Why, Ray? Tell the people.
So I think it was in the 70s when Marvel Animation was trying to license out a whole bunch of stuff. For whatever reason, I think it was Universal, or in Hanna-Barbera and whatnot. They only wanted the Human Torch. They wanted to do a Human Torch solo cartoon. So the animated rights of the Human Torch were not under the Marvel umbrella for a while. Obviously, everything's back home now. In the 80s, Marvel wanted to do a proper Fantastic Four cartoon, because like right on the heels of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and all this other stuff. Like they had some really good cartoons there. But I think it was Universal. Again, don't quote me on the studio. Wouldn't give the rights back for animation for the Human Torch. And then Marvel's like, well, we need a fourth character. So they made Herbie the Robot. And Herbie the Robot was introduced in cartoon before he ever was in the comics, before anything else. Now, of course, he is obviously a well-established part of Fantastic Four lore. He's even in Marvel Rivals as a side character. But like, at the time, he was introduced through animation as a replacement for the Human Torch that Marvel had sold the rights to earlier, and they couldn't get back to when they wanted to make that cartoon. That is why Herbie was introduced, and that is how Herbie came to be.
You are such a geek.
Yes, I am. So, on that note, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for listening. I'm still looking for this Kevin Durant. Caitlin really threw me off with this one.
It doesn't exist.
I think it... Fake news. Our producer Caitlin got fooled by the Twitter machine.
I'm looking to nothing. It's okay. We're moving on. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody.
Yes, thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I also just made Zabi's life heck if we want to cut all that stuff out. Sorry about that, buddy. But anyway, thank you all for watching and listening. Enjoy the Super Bowl, like Lee said. Lee, what are you doing for the Super Bowl, by the way? Real quick.
First time I'll be watching them at home.
Wow.
Yeah, all my years. First championship I might see at my house.
Look at that. That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, when you pop the champagne, it'll be easy to clean up.
I hope it's champagne that we hear popping outside. Yes.
Yes. I mean, I think either way, you're going to hear some stuff popping off outside. But
I think it's worse if we win. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Grease the poles. Go Birds.
Grease the poles. On that note, for Lee, I am Ray. Grease the poles, Carsillo. And we'll see y'all. We'll see y'all next week. We'll talk about this.
Just end the show.
We'll see y'all later. Good night, everybody. Grease the poles.
As Grease the Pole's Carsillo is the worst.